Shalom, shalom, shalom. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth, in spirit, and sincerity. And salutations to all the righteous brothers on the highways and byways and the different streaming platforms bringing out the word in truth, in spirit, and sincerity in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai. Kal Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakah Kodash Tuwada. As you see, today's edification, I'm going to give you a little bit of a twist today. It's called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The Fourth Industrial Revolution. We are living in the time of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. That's going to lead to your digital currency, your microchipping. It's going to lead to the autonomous society that they want to live in. This total robotics autonomous society. And then eventually into the War of Armageddon. This fourth revolution, this fourth industrial revolution is going to lead to all of these things, because we are now living in the time of the fourth industrial revolution, where they're merging everything digital. They want to merge everything digital with this nanotechnology. They want to merge the humans with these digital technologies that they have, and part of that merging is the nanotechnology, and also to do with the microchipping. So without further ado, quickly play this quick short video here.
Revolution. When describing the conference, Executive Chairman of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, detailed the effects of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. He described it as an incredibly widespread phenomenon, drawing on all organized groups with a stake in global issues, both public and private sectors, those in intellectual roles, and the general public. The revolution, he said, would be categorized by disruptions to the labor market and businesses in general, a wave of new innovation, fast-moving government decisions, and likely some degree of international conflict. Many questions arise when considering the dramatic changes enacted by the Fourth Industrial Revolution. What role will cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology play? What does it mean for the future of the workforce? How will social protection systems need to change? This revolution has been a digital one, as technologies merge to bring previously separate spheres closer to one another, with physical, digital, and biological spaces overlapping in powerful new ways. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and nano and biotechnology are all integral to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. WEF Executive Chairman Klaus Schwab said that we can anticipate a symbiosis between microorganisms, the human body, the products people consume, and the buildings we inhabit. This means that humans will leave the point at which they are merely users of the technology around them. Soon, we will merge with digital worlds. Moreover, industries across the board will experience varying levels of disruption, affecting their infrastructure, their systems of production, and control hierarchies. So, as ZeroHedge.com writes, the Fourth International Revolution will touch on jobs, human identity, privacy, notions of ownership, consumption patterns, the time devoted to work and leisure, how we develop as individuals, and how we meet people and nurture relationships. There is virtually nothing it will leave undisturbed and unchanged. Already, the pandemic has upset many of these same elements. Shortly following the close of the annual WEF meeting in 2016, geopolitical tensions erupted from the UK. with their contentious Brexit vote, to across the pond in the US, where Donald Trump won the presidency after a particularly heated election cycle. That brings us to 2019, when the world had little idea that it would soon be blindsided by a devastating pandemic and a brutal economic collapse. In 2019, the World Economic Forum's annual meeting had the theme Globalization 4.0, shaping a new architecture in the age of the fourth industrial revolution. Again, Klaus Schwab was predicting that our systems of health, transportation, communication, production, distribution, and energy, just to name a few, will be completely transformed. He specifically mentioned blockchain and distributed ledger technology, both of which added fuel to the push towards a global digital currency network. Schwab went on to describe the political and societal climate of 2019 as full of deep-seated and far-reaching insecurity and frustration, which he suggested was behind the tide of support for populist leaders worldwide. While he didn't say it outright, the underlying connections are clear. When countries are more concerned with their own interests and international cooperation is at a low, organizations like the World Economic Forum have more chances to argue for the fourth industrial revolution and a new world order. People are also more likely to fall into the trap they set. Globalization 4.0 has only just begun, but we are already vastly unprepared for it. Clinging to an outdated mindset, tinkering with our existing processes and institutions will not do. Rather, we need to redesign them from the ground up so that we can capitalize on the new opportunities that await us while avoiding the kind of disruptions that we are witnessing today, said Schwab last year. Ready or not, he warned, a new world is upon us. 5 months after the WEF annual meeting, the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, unveiled the BIS Innovation Hub, a project meant to move towards a new world order. The BIS is the bank for central banks, an international financial institution designed to facilitate international cooperation on monetary issues. They described their new project as a way to research technology's impact on central banking, to develop public goods in the technology space geared towards improving the functioning of the global financial system, and to gather a group of central bank experts and encourage new ideas and innovations. The language was hardly subtle. When launching the hub, BIS General Manager Augustin Carstens used phrases such as reshaping the financial landscape in response to the scars left by the financial crisis. According to Carstens, the central banking world needed a dramatic restructuring. When taking a deeper look into the project, the core of it appears to be the creation of a central bank digital currency, which would allow for long-standing legal tender like banknotes and coins to be pushed out in favor of digital currencies distributed by the central banking system. As cryptocurrencies rise in popularity and in use, more individuals may begin to consider the risks and weaknesses of traditional fiat currencies that are not backed by gold or silver. Some experts are already predicting that the United States dollar, which has served as a global reserve currency since World War II, will crumble. Its position as a global reserve currency gives the United States significant economic and political leverage, including such benefits as
I want 150.
lower borrowing rates from other countries, which positively impacts both the government and the American population. If the dollar is displaced, the economic strain already weighing on the U.S. will intensify exponentially. But like it or not, the way we exchange money worldwide is increasingly moving towards blockchain technology and digital currencies. The unstable political climate and the havoc wrought by the ongoing pandemic, particularly the belief that paying with physical cash is a potential safety risk, have made it easier than ever for organizations like the WEF and BIS to push their agendas to reform the central banking system and the world's financial infrastructure as a whole.
Well, as you can see, we are in what we call the fourth industrial revolution, which is going to lead to the end of all things as we know it today. This revolution that we're in. Now, you may ask what was the first, the second and the third industrial revolutions. So let me just quickly read this extract here. And it will get you to understand. It says the fourth industrial revolution, what it means and how to respond. Okay? So it says here, it says we stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work and relate to one another. In its scale, scope and complexity, the transformation will be like anything humankind has experienced before. We do not yet know just how it will unfold, but one thing is clear. The response to it must be integrated and comprehensive, involving all stakeholders of the global polity, from the public and private sectors to academia and civil society. The first revolution used, the first industrial revolution used water and steam power to mechanize production. The second used electric power to create mass production. The third industrial revolution used electronics and information technology to automate production. Now a fourth industrial revolution is building on the third. The digital revolution that has been occurring since the middle of the last century, it is characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between physical, digital, and biological spheres. It says there are three reasons why today's transformation represents not merely a proclamation of the third industrial revolution, but rather the arrival of a fourth and distinctive one. Velocity, scope, and system impact. The speed of current breakthroughs. What does that remind you of? Daniel's 12 and 4. We'll read that precept in a minute. The speed of current breakthroughs has no historic precedent when compared with previous industrial revolutions. The fourth is evolving at an exponential rather than a linear pace. Moreover, it is disrupting almost every industry in every country, and the breadth and depth of these changes herald the transformation of entire systems of production, management, and governance. All right? So it says the possibilities of billions of people connected by mobile devices with unprecedented processing power, storage capacity, and access to knowledge are unlimited. And these possibilities will be multiplied by emerging technology breakthroughs in the fields such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, microchipping, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. So, Daniel spoke about this. This is the beauty of all of this. Daniel spoke about this happening in the last days. All right. What we have to think of is when she said the speed. It says here. It says the speed of the current breakthroughs has no historical precedent. So there's no time in history that you can compare to this time that we're in now. Why? Because we are in the last days of the last days. There's no historical precedent of what we're seeing happening now. It says when compared with previous industrial revolutions, the fourth, which is what we're living in now, is evolving at an exponential rather than a linear speed. So, let's go to scripture. Daniel's chapter 12. Because that's all I can think of right now is Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. Now Daniel said this. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. So when it said seal the book, because the prophecies of the book at that particular time, the most of the prophecies were pertaining to the end times. It didn't mean seal the book. Nothing was ever going to be written in the scriptures again, because after the Old Testament, you had the Apocrypha and the New Testament. So he said, seal the book even to the time of the end. So it's just talking about the understanding of this book, of this whole book, will not come to fruition till the end, until we're in the end, the time of the end. We are in the time of the end now. This is why we're able to understand the whole book from Genesis to Revelations. So it says, even to the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. The speed of current breakthrough, which is knowledge, has no historical precedent, right? When compared with previous industrial revolutions, the fourth, which is what we're living in now, the fourth industrial revolution, is evolving at an exponential rather than a linear pace. So Daniel made it quite clear. He says, many shall run to and fro, right? Which is talking about this knowledge, and the knowledge shall be increased, because we are living in a time of what we call quantum technology. I spoke about this before, quantum science. Now they mentioned this in this article as well. They said, it says, the possibilities of billions, down here when it says the possibilities of billions of people connected by mobile devices with unprecedented processing power, storage capacity and access to knowledge are unlimited. And these possibilities will be multiplied by the emerging technology breakthroughs in fields such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, that's merging man with digital technology, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, which is all to do with the microchipping, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. Because we are living in a time of quantum science we're living in right now. So Daniel said, knowledge shall run to and fro, to and fro. Now, what's going to lead us to this digital currency that we read here about what will start the global currency reset? What's going to lead us to this digital currency is going to be the debt that all of these nations are mounting up upon themselves. All of these governments are mounting up debt. So much debt that they're going to collapse the current financial, monetary systems around the world to bring in the digital currency. So if we go to Habakkuk chapter 2, in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2, Habakkuk says here, and this is specifically talking about America, but all countries are following lock, stop and barrel. They're following in lock and step to what America's doing when it comes to printing fiat money out of thin air. Habakkuk 2 and 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him, which is the United States of America, Babylon the Great, that increases that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladders himself with thick clay. Now that word thick clay in the Hebrew is abatet in the Hebrew. Right? Now, just quickly show you, a lot of you know this already. That word in the Hebrew is avatet.
Strong's H 5671. Avtit.
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 Pronounced correctly, avtit, which means a weight of pledges, heavy debts. A weight of pledges, heavy debts. So we was reading Habakkuk prophesies here about Babylon the Great, America. It says, shall not all of these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself, that means that takes on unto himself with thick clay, takes unto himself with weights of pledges and heavy debts. Now, if we was to show you the world debt clock, just so you understand, so you can see for yourself, the world debt clocks. As you can see, America sits at the top of the world debt clock. Its national debt, which is the government's debt, is $26 trillion. $26 trillion. 26 trillion. Its yearly GDP, which is what the country turns over yearly, is $19 trillion. So the government's debt is 26 trillion. Its debt to its GDP is 120. So it says external debt to GDP 120%. So its debt exceeds its GDP. So that's like you earning £1,000 a month, but your debt is $1,200, $1,300, and every month you're just adding to that debt, just like what you see here. So these are all of the national debts of all these countries. These are all these countries laden themselves with thick clay, weights of pledges. This is what's going to cause the collapse of, we see, look here, that's what's going to cause the collapse of these currencies, these national currencies. All right, that's what's going to cause a collapse. This is here America's debt, as you can see it going up. All right, whereas you can see their taxes. See, it says U.S. federal revenue to the right is going down. So what they're taking in is going down, and what they're borrowing is going up. There's no way they can pay off this debt. So the powers that be, people that run the world, the New World Order, the elite, the Illuminati, are going to crash. I keep telling you, they're going to crash these current financial and monetary systems, which we call fiat money, because they've accumulated so much debt, they printed so much money that they've lost their value. And that's what's going to cause them to go to digital currency. And with that digital currency comes your digital wallet. That's going to be start off paying with your phone. Then it's going to move into the nanotechnology phase, where it's going to be paid off with a microchip. You're going to be given a microchip that's going to be considered your digital wallet, that's going to replace the whole payment system. It will start off using your phone and the technology that you have, your app on your phone, like your PayPals, your Google Pay, your Apple Pay, and then it will move from that to the microchip, where you can pay using your microchip, what you already see doing them in certain countries like Sweden. But this is where we're at. We're in the fourth industrial revolution, and this is what's going to lead to the end of everything that we know society is today. This is where it's going to lead us to. So the prophecy also says because certain things have to happen, and these things are happening as we speak. Matthew 24 says, we're just going to jump around with a few different prophecies to do with this particular article, to do with us living in the time of the fourth industrial revolution. Matthew 24 and 14 says right here, it says, and this gospel of the kingdom, which is what we teach, this gospel of the kingdom is this truth that we teach, that you are Hebrew Israelites, all of you that descend from the transatlantic slave trade are the Israelites of the Bible. All of you that descend from the Native American Indian tribes, today they're called Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. You are the true children of Israel. You are the Israelites. So this is the gospel that we preach. And we also preach the prophecies to do with the Bible, the end times, Babylon the Great is America, the destruction, The mark of the beast is the microchip. The World War III that's coming, the War of Armageddon in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. We teach all these things, and the destruction of Esau's society and rulership, and for the Israelites that are going to take over, and the salvation of the children of Israel, the true children of Israel. So when this gospel of this kingdom that we teach shall be preached in all the world. Now, how is this gospel getting to all the world? With the same technology that Esau has created, the internet. Esau, these Edomites, have created a technology called the internet that's allowing this gospel to preach to the four corners of the world. So the internet is part of what we call the fourth industrial revolution. It's all part and parcel of that. That's why when you hear them speak about the Internet of Things, the Internet of Things is them talking about digitally putting stuff inside you that you can connect to the internet without using your phone or a computer and so forth. So you and the internet can be one. So it's basically by putting a microchip inside your brain so you can connect to the internet through digital waves instead of using a computer or a phone. That's what they mean, the Internet of Things, integrating machine with man. So this gospel gets preached to the four corners of the world. How? Through Esau's internet. For a witness unto all nations. So we preach it as a witness unto all nations to warn them on what's coming. Because the Lord tells us that we are his watchmen, that we must go out there, we must cry aloud, spare not, show my people their discretion, show the Israelites their discretion, and we must also preach it to the other nations. We must warn them is what to become. Because the Bible talks about that you must warn the wicked of what's to become so that their blood is not on our hand. So this gospel has been preached to the four corners of the world as a witness unto all nations. And then, only then shall the end come. So that end is coming. We are in the latter days. It's just, I say again, two major prophecies have to be fulfilled. The mark of the beast, which is the microchip, being implemented globally, and the initiation of World War III has to be in play. So, this shows you quite clearly, because we are living in a time of the fourth industrial revolution, it's enabling all of these things that Daniel spoke of, that Matthew spoke of, are all coming to light. Ezekiel, because remember, this man here, this man Esau, he believes he is a god. He ultimately believes he is a god. And through that belief, which allows him to do all of these things, create all of these things, to play like he's God with all these technology that he puts out there, basically, because he truly believes he's a god. This is why he's out. He's got a space station out in the space. He's trying to get to Mars, to the moon, even though this man has never been to the moon or to Mars, but it's his dream to go to these places. But as you know, no human being can go outside of the Van Allen belt. The Van Allen belt is what circles the whole of the earth, and it's full of total radiation, and humans cannot go through the Van Allen belt. Those space stations and satellites that are in space are inside of the Van Allen belt out there in space. So this is another prophecy talking about Esau, these Edomites, and this man. It says, the word of the Most High came again unto me, saying, right? Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus. This is talking about Esau. This is talking about, when it says the prince of Tyrus, it's talking about the rulers of today, the princes and the noblemen, the elites, the socialites, those that run the world today, of Tyrus. Tyrus is another way of talking about a great leader, all right? It says, thus says the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Because these Edomites, these Illuminatis, these New World Orders, they truly believe they are a God. And by proving that to the world is through their technology, through their quantum science, through everything that we read here, through their emerging technologies. And these, just like it says there, and these possibilities will be multiplied by emerging technologies, breakthroughs in fields such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, which is migrating men with machines, all right? Integrating men with machines. That's what the Internet of Things means. Autonomous vehicles, vehicles that drive by themselves, 3D printing, nanotechnology. That leads you straight to the microchip. Nanotechnology is them injecting you with nanobytes that are not visible by the human eye, but they have electronic technology. They have they're made of all small types of electronic, but you can't see it with the human eye, right? And that's what makes up a lot of the microchip. They will use nanotechnology to make the microchip. Biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. So with all of this man, because he has all of this technology, this is what you must understand. He truly believes he is a god, just like what Ezekiel says here. Thus says the Lord power Yahweh, because thine heart, in his mind is lifted up, thou hast said, I am a god. That's why this man is worshipped everywhere where he goes. He's worshipped everywhere where he goes. But the tide is going to turn where he's going to become hated everywhere he goes. All right? It says, he says to himself, I sit in the seat of the Most High. In the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God. That's what the Most High is going to remind this devil. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. He is considered wiser than Daniel because of all of the technology that this man has under his realm, under his power, what he's created. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Just think about it. With these satellites, with these CCTV cameras, with these tracking devices, there's no secret that we can hide from him. And the ultimate control is going to be him pushing out the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, because that now will track your every movement. It will track everything you spend, everywhere you go, everything you buy. There's nothing you can do that this man can't see. So right now, so the final part of him getting that total control, that total godlike ship, is by implementing the microchip, which is coming. And the way they're going to do it is by collapsing the current financial and physical fiat money systems around the world. It says, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches. This is how this man has got rich. With all of these wisdom, his technology, he controls everything. He controls all the manufacturing. He controls all of the media. He controls all of the financial institution, all of the investment bank institutions. This man controls all of the central banks. This man controls all of the agricultural businesses. This man controls all of the social media businesses and the media platforms. He controls all of the media outlets, the newspapers. He controls all of the major internet-based buying and selling of business. With his wisdom and his understanding, thou hast gotten riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. All right? It says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches. Let's quickly look at the word traffic, just to show you. By thy traffic hast thou got thee riches. By thy wisdom.
Strong's H 7404. Rachala.
Rachala. Which means by thine merchandise, traffic, trade, hast thou gotten thee riches. All right? Because he controls what? He controls the merchandise. He controls everything that's traffic and trade. He controls the global trade. When you buy and sell stuff, right, on the global scale, you have to use a system called the Swift banking system. There it is. That's what corporations have to use. Swift provides a secure network that allows more than 10,000 financial institutions in 212 different countries to send and receive information about financial transactions to each other. Right? Before the SWIFT network was put in place, banks and the financial institutions relied on a system called the telex to make money transfers. The whole global trade system used this one system here called the SWIFT banking system. Who controls the SWIFT banking system? Esau. This man that thinks he's a god. He controls it all. Alright? So, let's go back to Ezekiel. Where was we? So, he controls the merchandise, the trafficking of merchandise, and the trade. Alright? So it says trade as peddled, merchandise, traffic. So, it says here, verse 5. It says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And you got to know that Esau is the most proud devil. He's the most proud devil on this planet Earth. Esau. Alright? And that's because of from his wisdom, his technology, from his riches that he's accumulated, because he controls the whole world global trade system, this man, and all the technologies that go with it. It says, therefore, thus says the Lord power, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, right? Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. This is why I said that. He's going to go from being the most sought after man in the world, these Edomites, to the most hated people. More in specific, America itself, which is it's the representation of Esau at his height, is your American Edomite. It's going to go from everyone wants to go to America, to everyone wants to try to get out of America, and it's going to be considered the most hated place in the world, with those Edomites leading the way. The most hated place and the most hated people is going to be America and those Edomites. So the Lord said, behold up, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. Who is the terrible? Who does the world fear the most? Who does all these countries in the West fear the most? The Russians, their fellow Edomites. They're the most feared nation by the Western nations, by America and the Europeans, the Brits, the French, the Germans, and the European Union, NATO. Their most feared is Russia. That is the terrible of the nations that the Most High is going to bring against America and its Edomite allies. They shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Right? Revelations 18 tells you all about that. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. This is how the World War III comes in during this fourth industrial revolution that we're living in now. It's the terrible of the nations that's going to come up against America, which is the beauty and the wisdom of the Edomites, is an American Edomite. Everyone wants to go to America. Everyone wants to be in America. Everyone wants to be an American Edomite when they get to America. No one goes to America and says, I want to become an Hispanic, be like the Hispanics or the African Americans or the Asian Americans, whatever. They all want to be like the Edomite Americans, because that's the ideal person for them to be. It says, will thou yet say before him that slaves thee, I am a god? So when that war comes, when that war of Armageddon comes and those missiles are fired on America, all right, is he going to be saying then, I am a god? But thou shalt be a man. That's when he's going to know that he's a simple man just like everyone else, and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. He's going to know that he's a simple man. But he's going to be slayed by his fellow Edomites. Remember what it says in Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14, when it talks about the destruction. Remember, Isaiah 14 is about the destruction of Babylon the Great. Verse 4, it says, that thou shalt take up a proverb against the king of Babylon. All right? So that will be whoever's sitting in the power seat in America, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden. That's the king of Babylon, whoever sits in that presidential Oval Office in America. And say, how has the oppressor seized, the golden city seized? How is it going to seize? Because the Most High is going to bring who? Behold, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. Because remember, Russia is going to be in a coalition when they come up against America, Babylon the Great. All right? That's how the oppressor sees. When it says, where was I? It says, thou shalt take up a proverb against the king of Babylon, right, America, and say, how has the oppressor seized the golden city? The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath and with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Because that's who the Lord is going to bring up against America, is the Russians, the terrible of the nations, the one that all the nations fear the most. All right? And then if you come down there, it says, it's going to jump down a few. Where is it? I want to go to. Have I gone past it? Without art. Where is it? I'm looking for it. There's a particular precept I want to bring out here. All right, here's right here. So it says there, I'll start here. It says, for thou says in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, because he thinks he's a god. Just like we was reading in Ezekiel 28. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, which is what he's done, because he's got all of these satellites out there in space and these space stations out there. He's exalted his throne above the stars of the Most High. He's got all of that technology out in space. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Right? The mount of the congregation in the sides of the north represents North America. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. And it's done that. That's how you're able to fly from England to America, from America to England, and all around the world in these 747 jets and these airplanes that go on holiday to the West Indies or wherever you're going. Because this man created a technology that allowed him to ascend above the height of the clouds. Today we call those aeroplanes. He says, I will be like the Most High. Because that's his quest. He wants to be like the Most High. He wants to be God. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, which means to his grave. He's going to be brought down to his grave. To where? To the sides of the pits. They that see thee, right? When they see Babylon the Great, this man brought down, right? Esau brought down by his fellow Edomites. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Is this the man that made the world as a wilderness? How is most of the world going to be made like a wilderness? Through World War III, through the nuclear war that's coming. And destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of the prisoners. This man is responsible. America has the biggest incarceration of people in the world are in the United States of America. There's over 3 million people incarcerated in America. Over 3 million people incarcerated in America. And out of those 3 million people, around about 2 million of them, 2.5 million of them are African Americans, West Indians, Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, and Puerto Ricans. Children of Israel are the most incarcerated people in the United States of America, right? That open not the house of the prisoners. It says, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in their own house. All right? So when it says, is this the man? It's talking about, when it says, verse 12, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning star? Right? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakens the nation? It's not talking about the devil. The word Lucifer here means morning star, right? And we can show you. It means morning star, Lucifer. This is the man that thinks he's a god because he's got all of this technology. He's the light bearer, right? That's what he is, the light bearer, right? Shining one, morning star, Lucifer, of the king of Babylon, right? And Satan, because the word Satan means what? Adversary. It says Hellel, describing the king of Babylon. So the current king of Babylon right now is Donald Trump. Whether he's going to continue to be that current king in November, we don't know, because maybe Joe Biden takes over. But like I said, I believe in my spirit that Trump's going to win that shit in November. So it's light bearer, because America does what? America shows the way. They bear the torch, the light. They show the way. What America does, the whole world follows, right? They follow their music, their style, their culture, their laws. If America sanctions a country, everyone else has to follow. When America put the sanctions on Russia, all the rest of the countries around the world had to follow and couldn't trade with Russia. When America put sanctions on Cuba, no one could trade with Cuba. For over 50 years, they've had sanctions on Cuba. When America put sanctions on Iran, no one can trade with Iran. When Gaddafi was in power and Obama put sanctions on Libya, no one could trade with Libya. When America put sanctions on, what's the other country they went to war with? Iraq and Afghanistan, no one can trade. What America says, everyone has to follow lock and step. It's called lock and step, lock, step, lock, step, lock, step. That's what they have to do, lock, step. So they're the light bearer. That's what it is. That's what the word Lucifer means, light. This is not talking about the spirit. This is not talking about the spiritual angel Satan here. The spiritual angel Satan exists, but this here in Isaiah 14 is talking about, it's a metaphor for America, Babylon the Great. They're the light bearers. Everyone follows them, what they say and what they do. It's as simple as that. So when it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. And he has. This white man has ascended into heaven. I will exalt my throne amongst the stars of the Most High. He has, with all these satellites and these space stations. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. And he has. His mount of the congregation in his government in the sides of the north is North America. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. And he has. Aeroplanes are going back and forth every day. Not so much now because of coronavirus, but he has done that. I will be like the Most High. This white man thinks he's a god. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, which means your grave, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man, Esau, these Edomites that run the world, that everyone wanted to be like the so-called white man? Is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake the kingdoms? How is he going to make the earth to tremble and shake the kingdoms? When they go into the war of Armageddon. Starts as a conventional war, and then it's going to escalate to a nuclear war. That's how the earth is going to tremble, and that's how the kingdoms, the cities around the world are going to shake, because nuclear missiles are going to be fired back and forth between Russia and America, China and America, Europe and America, Europe and Russia. It's going to be a world war that made the world as a wilderness. That's what's going to cause a lot of these cities to end up looking like a wilderness. Is these ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners. So this is how it's all going to go down, people, because we are living in the fourth industrial revolution with all of this technology that we have today. So when we go back to Ezekiel, and it says, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, which is Russia and all of its allies. Just read Ezekiel 38, tell you about the war of Gog and Magog, all right? And they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. There's going to be so much death in World War III because of all of this technology and power that we have today. Will thou yet say before him that slays thee, I am a God? But thou shalt be a man, and no God, in the hand of him that slay thee. Thou shalt die the the deaths of the uncircumcised, which means the heathens. That was another way of calling a heathen, was saying that they're the uncircumcised. By the hand of strangers. Those strangers are going to be all of those allied countries that are going to come up against America in the war of Armageddon. For I have spoken it, says the Lord Yahweh, because the Most High has spoken it. All right? Precept here, Revelations 14. It's because we're living in that time what Daniel says, but thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. So understanding from Genesis to Revelation was never going to take place until the time of the end. All right? Because a lot of the stuff that the prophets wrote down was to do with the end times, the latter days. So even them themselves didn't understand it, how it was all going to go down. Even though a lot of them had the visions and saw it, it wasn't for their time, it's for our time. When Isaiah witnessed the nuclear destruction, when Ezekiel witnessed it, when Jeremiah witnessed it, when Joel witnessed it, when John the Revelator witnessed it, they were all witnessing what was going to happen in our time. Because now we have that technology now. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. We are living in that time that knowledge. Remember, I've said this to you before many times. 150 years ago, we were in horse and carriage. Horse and carriage. So it took us 150 years to go from horse and carriage to nanotechnology, what we have today. That's what you must comprehend. Prior to that, the 10,000 years prior to that, 10, 12,000 years prior to that, we were riding horse and carriages for 12,000 years, 14,000 years. And then in a space of 150 years, we went from horse and carriage to having satellites and space stations and all this technology, mobile phones and nanotechnology and internet. Just truly think about what we're in. We are in the end of the end right now, truly. So, Revelations 14, quickly precept out of there, a couple more precepts. It says, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, kindred and tongue and people. And this goes back to when we said that the gospel has to be taught, has to go where? And this gospel, which is the scriptures, of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So the angel in the book of Revelation that's witnessing this right now. And I saw another angel, this is what John the Revelator saw in his vision, fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach, which is this Bible, this word, unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, which means it's gone to the four corners of the earth, saying with a loud voice, fear the Most High and give glory to him. For there's only one God, one power, and one Son, Yahushua. Why? For the hour of his judgment. What is his judgment? The great war of Armageddon, World War III. For his judgment, the hour of his judgment is come, which is the nuclear war. And worship him that made the heaven and the earth and the sea and the fountains of water. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon, which is America, is fallen, that great city, that great place America that everyone wants to go to and be. Because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, her beliefs, her philosophies, her ways of life, her laws, her decrees. Everyone followed what America said. If America says the nations have got to walk around with holding one leg up for the next 2 days, they will do it. Because everyone gets rich over this one country, America. Everyone wants to trade with America. It's as simple as that. So was I going to pull out one more? I don't think I even need to go into any more. I just really wanted to just pull out these few scriptures there to make you understand. Is the one in Sirach? Hold on, let me just see. I just really wanted to pull out this scripture so you can understand that we are living in the time of the fourth industrial revolution. All this technology that we're going to have is going to lead up to the end of the end. All the things you see happening, all these technologies that they're floating around is going to lead up to that. Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 7. And we can finish here. Pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and both does one commit, and by both does one commit iniquity. All right? It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. That's how this white man got rich and got to rule the world and take over the world. By unrighteous dealings and injuries, his crimes that he's committed, and riches got by deceit, the lies that he's done. The kingdom, which is what we're living in today, Esau's kingdom, is translated from one people to another. Who's it going to be translated from? It's going to go from the Edomites that rule the kingdom today to the Israelites, God's chosen people. Why? Because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit. Simple. The kingdom is going to be translated from one people to another. And how is that going to happen? That's going to happen by the collapse of this current society, the collapse of their monetary systems, the moving into the microchipping, the digital currencies, the war that's going to wage between the nations that are going to fall out even more when they move into this digital currency phase. They're going to fall out even more, which is going to ultimately lead them into World War III, which starts as a conventional war and then escalates to a nuclear war. And then our Lord is going to come to deliver the elect of Israel, the true children of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, Issachar. The Lord is going to deliver the true children of Israel from the four corners of the world. And then the kingdom is going to be translated from one people, which are the Edomites, to another. Why? Because of their unrighteous dealings, their injuries, their wickedness that they've committed to get this kingdom, and the riches got by deceit. Remember what the book says in Job 9 and 24. Job 9 and 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, which are the Edomites that rule this world today. He covereth the faces of the judges. Who are the judges? Those were the Israelites. Those are the people of the Bible. He changed them all from black to white during the Renaissance. He made Moses white. He made Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus Christ. He made him white. He made all the disciples white. Matthew, Luke, John, Bartholomew, Peter, Paul. He made all the prophets white. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Obadiah, Habakkuk, Joel, King David, Solomon. This is what he did. He covered the faces of all of the judges. Who are the true judges? The Israelites. The people who are coming to rule the world, the children of God. So it says, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If it's not this so-called white man, then where and who is he? Who is the wicked? If it's not this so-called white man who has, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom which he's got today, which is the world that's given into the hands of the wicked, is going to be translated from these Edomites, from one people to another, to the Israelites. That's what we've got to look forward to, just so you understand. So, I pray this was an edifying lesson to all the brothers and sisters that tuned in live, and for those of you that may tune in later. I want to say again, Kal, Halal, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Rakah, Kodash. All praises to the Father and Son, all those that tuned in. And for those of you that may tune in later, it's all about enduring to the end, because, you know, you're either with this truth, for this truth, or you're against the truth. But nothing can defeat this truth, nothing, because the Lord is truly coming for his people and he's coming to put down Esau. All praises and glory to the Father and Son until we meet again. Like I say, just keep safe, boy. Keep your head down, keep safe, boy. All praise.